In a twist of a turn of events this afternoon, President Trump says he is now postponing a planned trip by Speaker Nancy Pelosi to visit Belgium, Egypt, and Afghanistan. In a letter, Trump called the trip a public relations event and said it could be rescheduled when the government shutdown is over. He even went on to suggest that she could fly commercial. And there are reports that Pelosi and her staff were even in the process of loading buses to take them to Andrews Air Force Base to begin the trip. And now it comes just as Speaker Pelosi sent a letter to the president suggesting he postpone the State of the Union, citing the number of furloughed and government security workers. Now, I have to take this to my 360 panel, and joining us this evening, former Florida Democratic Party Chair Mitch Caesar and Carrie Sheffield, a national editor of Accuracy of Media. And thank you for joining us, both of you. Come on, guys. Did you get your popcorn ready for this? This was a little bit unexpected. Carrie, I have to start with you. Why in the world do Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, after 2 years still act shocked when they punch Trump back that he doesn't just punch even harder back in response?
You're right, Scotty. And look, it's a step up for them to go to Europe on a PR tour as opposed to lounging on the beach in Puerto Rico. So I give them a little bit of credit. But you're absolutely right that whenever the Democrats know that if they take a blow against this president, he is going to punch back harder. And he's making Nancy Pelosi realize that she needs to come to the table. And that's what the president said in his letter to Speaker Pelosi. Why don't you come back to Washington and work together to get this shutdown finished with? And that's really the intellectual dishonesty that we're seeing from the left. And so I appreciate the president calling it out.
Well, that's the thing, Mitch. A lot of Democrats right now, you already saw a whole row of leadership within the Democratic Party line up as the first microphone they could find and call this petty, say this isn't becoming an American president. But what other kind of response would you expect from President Trump at this stage after it was publicly Nancy Pelosi's letter yesterday? Is this a petty move by the president, or is he right? Should Democrats be focused on domestic issues before going abroad at this stage?
Well, at this stage, I find very little of what the president says is right. He's uninformed and doesn't want to be informed. There's three issues here. The first is, by the way he did it, he posed a somewhat security issue for Nancy Pelosi. The second issue is the fact is Democrats are winning on this issue. All polls show that Democrats are ahead by about 20 points in the contest of who blames Trump for the shutdown and therefore everything else that follows. The third is, I think the president made a mistake. He should have done the reverse. If I was Trumpian, what I would do is I would have let her go. And then while she's overseas, then I would have began deal talks and either made the deals while she was gone and blame her for not being here, or brought her all the way back and had the deals collapse. So if he wanted to be really Trumpian and thought it out, he would have probably let her go. He didn't do that. This is a guy who did it just to make himself feel good. He's got no further. And basically, to quote Charlie Sheen, we're winning. Unfortunately, the American people are not, and they need to come to a conclusion quickly. People are hurting. Now it's finally to the point that enough people are hurting, and the pressure on President Trump grows even larger because he's not a good deal maker. It's his way or no way. It doesn't matter who's in town. You can't negotiate like that.
But that's the thing, Carrie. Mitch does bring up a good point. If Nancy and her flight of Democrats would have taken off, Trump could have blamed the rest of the shutdown going on because, look, they just flew the coop. They went to the country. Granted, it was to praise our troops and to see the work that they're going. But at the same time, however, did this move actually lose with Trump's base, or are you seeing that they actually responded quite praisingly to it?
Well, we already saw this happen, actually, during the holiday when Speaker Pelosi, before she was sworn in, she went to Hawaii while President Trump remained in Washington in the snow. He did not go down to Mar-a-Lago. So I really push back and reject what my opponent just said, because Nancy Pelosi already did this. She has no remorse for what she's doing. She's the one who's dragging this on. So I think when you say winning, that's really quite callous, to be honest. This isn't about winning some political points. This is about the fact that people are getting murdered every day, that drugs are coming up from our border, that the president won the White House because of the issue of immigration. So if Democrats want to play ignorant, not to mention the fact Nancy Pelosi, when she says that a wall is an immorality, Her own party for years had voted for the same type of policies, yet President Trump is the one who actually wants to get it over the finish line. I mean, when Barack Obama in 2014 said there was a humanitarian crisis, no one said that he was being xenophobic and racist then. When Hillary Clinton voted for a barrier on the southern border in 2005 as a senator, no one said she was a racist. You know, it's just because he's Trump, just because he's going to do what he says he's going to do, rather than use the political blather that has been going on for decades in the swamp, that the Democrats are now finally doing all they can to smear him. So I think it's fundamentally intellectually dishonest, and the voters are smarter.
Well, that's the thing, Mitch. Now we had yesterday was kind of a check mark in Pelosi's corner. Obviously today's kind of a check mark in Trump's corner. Okay, we're even. Both of you got your little digs in. You got it. However, going forward, starting even tomorrow, how is this going to progress? Because I don't think either of the last 48 hours PR moves have helped either side actually get to a solution on it. So what do you hope to look into your political prediction ball? What do you think Democrats' response is going to be to the actions today?
I think the Democrats are going to say that we need to negotiate. There's a bipartisan group of senators who want to get going. Trump basically shut that down and said, I don't want to meet with those folks. To tell you how seriously he's taking the shutdown, his campaign today, in a letter or an email,